Well, we've got a bit more work done to these this wee beastie that I thought I'd share with you. So I think the most noticeable part is the fact that we got the base covered with tape to protect it, because I knew that if I didn't, I'd get paint everywhere and I'd gouge it and scratch it and stuff. I mean, any scratches on the surface, as long as they're not deep, wouldn't really matter anyway, because of all the other stuff that's going on excuse me, going on top. So from that point of view, not quite so bad. But we definitely didn't want to get any paint or anything on it. We've already got a little bit on there anyways from the Aztec, no, not the Aztec, the Tamiya panel line accent colour, that's the one. But we got a few other pieces done as well. The aerial on the back, that's been put in now, but what I've had to do is, because these parts on the kit, A, are kind of more square than round, but B, also thin to the point that the way that they've actually got these on the sprue with rather large contact points in like 4 different places, which is absurd if you ask me. It's very difficult to take those off without actually breaking them. Even with a sharp blade, it can be difficult. And plus the fact, because they didn't look right in the first place, I just decided what the hell, it doesn't really matter. So I've just replaced them with 0.5mm rod, matched the length of the aerials to what the kit supplied. Whether that's right or wrong, who knows, but that's what I've done. Also, what I've done with the aerials is the rod itself, I've chucked, or I put that in the chuck on the drill and tightened it right down, and then basically gone along with a sanding stick and just sanded it down until you start to see a visible taper on it, and rounded the end as well, just to make it look a bit more realistic. I've also done the same with the parts that are on here as well. I'm not going to bother putting those on until such time that the superstructure that goes here is on, and that will be the last bit to go, because I've got the photo etch that needs to go on here first, and I'm going to need lots of elbow room to get those on, especially with my fat sausage fingers. And the fact that I know that when I'm concentrating on those areas, I will lose situational awareness, and most probably end up stuffing up the photo etch that's already been put on there. So I will be putting that part of the superstructure on last. Apart from that, we've got the little radar thingamajiggy bob on the back of the hangar bay there. That's in and looking good. This just needs to be painted. The aerials that go up here need to be painted, so they're done. And I've also got all of the details now on top of the bridge. A couple of those just need a little bit of extra paint on those to help them blend in. Then they need to be, everything on top of the bridge, regardless, will need to be treated with the Tamiya clear lacquer. And also these new decals that are on as well will need a quick spray down with a little bit of clear lacquer as well. I've done some weathering to the ship, and in places it's way too heavy, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lighten that up by going along with a very fine sort of mist coat of the light grey, the light ghost grey, to cover some of that up. And I'm just going to get some pastels, I think, actually, and just do a little bit of weathering with those. And I've still got a couple of holes on the top of the sensor dome there to cover up. But overall she's not looking too bad. As I said, the last thing, one of the last, well, we've got the back as well done. We've replaced the stripes that have gone wrong there, so I just need to recoat that again in the lacquer, clear lacquer, and then I can do a little bit more weathering to this to bring it all back. But the repair on that is actually looking quite good. This line here on the back of the deck, I purposely left that broken because that just kind of adds to the whole weathering effect on that. So, you know, I just thought, well, I'll leave that because that looks quite good. And once I've done that, I just do it, as I say, a little bit more weathering on that, and that'll be fine. Apart from that, we've got the decals on for the 30 cal gun platforms, the health and safety gone mad ones. It's as though, you know, you've got the military professionals that use these for a living and know how deadly they are, and know not to step anywhere near it if somebody's using the weapon. But the health and safety rivet counters, no, you must have warning signs on there to say that that's a gun and it's dangerous. Yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, so we got those in. We've also got the ship's crest on either side of the smokestack, if that's what they're still called, I don't know, but I think they might be, even though they don't really smoke these days, too many filters. And then we've also got the couple of decals on either side of the missile silo, and we've also got the decal on the two decals, sorry, on the main deck gun. But yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. More weathering to do, to be fair. I need to do a little bit more rust weathering, and as I say, I just need to spray the ship down in and around this area of the superstructure and along the hull, just to lighten up some of the weathering that we've got on there, because it's just way too dark. It looks as though the ship's never been taken care of. After that, it's been on a really long voyage of about sort of 5 years. So yeah, just sort those bits out where I went a little bit too heavy, and then hopefully everything will be fine. So I'm going to call this video quits, and I will catch up with you in, I do believe, part 11, where hopefully we would have got most of the stuff done to this, because I think it's getting to that point now really where we need to think about getting this finished so we can move on to the Kent. I don't want this build to carry on forever and ever and ever, even though I am enjoying it. Even though this kit is proving, well, no, the cat actually isn't proving to be a pain in the bum, to be fair. I've got to say, it's not too bad. It's not actually as much of a pain in the backside. I mean, it's still a pain in the backside, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as much of a pain in the backside as I thought it was actually going to be. So I guess that's a blessing in disguise. We take the wins where we can. Anyway, guys, that's it. I will catch up with you in part 11. So thanks for watching, and as always, please do take care. Well, we've got all of the photo etch on, which is a good thing. It means that there's no more photo etch work to do on this kit. So happy with that, to be fair. And it's looking quite good. So we've got all of the safety nettings around the helicopter deck. We've got the safety nettings around the 30mm guns, the photo etch around this part of the platform, around where the smokestack is, if that's what they're called these days. And we've also got the railings in. All the guns are attached and in. So let's just see if we can. It's alright, I can hold this. It's not that heavy, but yeah, you can see the railings coming in there, and all of the photo etch around for the nettings, etc. So that's looking quite good. Quite happy with that. And as I say, it's all one uniform sheen now, rather than being all sorts of different bits, or all different sort of, you know, glass matte. It's all one uniform colour, which is good. Happy with that. The next stage of this for me now is to just do a little bit of pastel work, really. I just want to, especially around the sensors at the top, I just want to just put a little bit of weathering coming off of those with the pastels. It's going to be easier to do it with that than paint, to be fair. I'm going to be able to control that more, plus the fact if I go overboard, I can just wipe it off and then start again. So that's one of the reasons for doing that. And then also there's also more rust weathering that I would like to do around, well, the whole of the ship, to be fair, especially around the top where they're not really going to be able to get to the rust, and also around the hull of the ship as well in some areas where you're going to get concentrations of quite heavy rust. So that would be the next stage for me to do. I've never done that before. Never worked with pastels really to get that kind of effect on a kit before. So it's going to be interesting to do that. And as I say, it should be reasonably easy to do because, well, there's going to be no panic because I can just wipe it off if I don't like it and then start again. And I also need to do some more weather into the decks as well to bring the colour of those down a little bit more, and especially around the back of the deck where the helicopter sits. That's going to need a little bit more weather in as well, because I've watched a program on one of our terrestrial channels called Warship, and that was all about the HMS Duncan, which is the sister, or one of the sister ships to the Daring, and that was weathered, or should I say, sorry, that you could see the rust on that quite easily in a number of spots. So it's just a case of trying to replicate that kind of thing, really. I mean, I have generally, with the weathering, gone for a look that it's either, you know, sort of where it's basically coming to the end of its deployment, sort of thing, you know. So it is going to be a little bit dirtier than otherwise it would be if it was just stuck in port. So that's where we are at the moment. Once the weathering is done, I'll be working on the seascape then, and that'll be good, to be fair. I can't wait to get that done, because that will signify that the build is coming to an end. Following on from that, the only things, or the last things that will go on once I've got the seascape done, is I will finally glue the helicopter to the flight deck, get a couple of crew on the flight deck for the helicopter, and then also just get a smattering of men sort of like around the ship. I'm not going to have too many men around on the outside. I mean, you don't really mainly see them sort of on the deck really, but I might get one looking as though he's inspecting the main deck gun there, and then just a couple of others around different places. Still waiting on the figures, actually, to be honest, for the little boat, for the little ribbed Gemini boat. Hopefully they won't be too much longer. I mean, as I say, I've still got quite a bit of work to do on this anyway, so, and even if they do turn up last, or even if they do turn up fairly late, then that's not so much of a problem, because all I would really need to do is just get them painted and glue them in. The chappie who's doing it for me is, well, he kind of, they're not custom, but he does need to muck around in, I don't know, Blender or a program like that to be able to get them in the sitting position that I need, and one for driving the boat as well. So if they come in last, it's not really much of a problem, because I can have the boat in place and then just glue them in, and that'll be okay. But yeah, that's going to be about it for the moment, and I will come back to you guys as soon as all the weathering is finished, so we can take a look at that to see if that looks any good. So I will catch up with you in a bit. Well, we now got all of the weathering done to this wee beastie that I'm actually going to do, to be fair. I think you can be in danger of going too far, not knowing when to stop. So basically all I've done really to lighten the decks up, really to give them that sort of salty kind of sea look, is just basically gone over every single deck with a mixture of light grey and white pastels to get that look. And I've basically used a makeup brush to do the decks with. I promise it wasn't mine. It wasn't my makeup brush. I don't do things like that. Honestly, truthfully, you know, please believe me. Anywho, we've done that. We've also got a few figures out on the decks as well now. Not too many, to be fair, because you wouldn't see too many people being on deck anyway on one of these ships, to be fair. Most of the crew stay inside. It's just, you just don't really get too many crew members out there at all. So we've got one on the back deck who's just like waving to the helicopter to say, yeah, off you go, see you later, mate. We've got a little figure that's down there walking towards the door, and we've got a figure up the front here coming out, walking towards the big cannon, and then we've got a guy standing next to the cannon. So I would imagine that they're going to be inspecting the cannon. Maybe there's a little problem with it, or deck gun, should I say. It's not a cannon, is it? And then, yeah, I couldn't see him, but we've got another man just in there going into this door, so I guess he's most probably checked that gun. Now, the only problem is with this gun is, and that's why he's most probably out there actually, unfortunately the barrel come off this gun and I cannot find it anywhere. So I'm just going to have to scratch around to see if I can find anything that's suitable to actually replace that with. Yeah, so I didn't want to put too many characters on there, to be fair. Just a couple to make it look as though we've got some life going on the ship. Also used some light brown and dark brown pastels as well to around where the helicopter goes, because on every sort of reference ship, doesn't matter whether it's the Daring or one of the sister ships, I've always found around there's big brown dirty marks. I don't think they're skid marks, but you never know. But so I've done those with that colour, and then I've also gone along the ship with the grey colour as well, or the grey pastel, and I've just dusted some all around the ship. And I've also done the same to this superstructure as well. So that's where we are with that. So that's all done. The model essentially is now completed. So the next phase for me is to get rid of all of this masking tape and start working on the seascape. So that's going to be fun. So I will come back to you in the next episode to show you the start of that. I won't show you it all, to be honest, because we do want some surprises left at the end for when we have the final reveal. So I will catch up with you in the next episode, which I do believe is going to be part 11, possibly 12. I can't remember, to be honest. So yeah, until then, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, please do take care.